A very pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you into another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here at Quaker Steak and Lube in beautiful State College. Another absolutely lovely winter day here in February as we make the turn toward fun time of the year for the winter sports teams with the postseason now just around the corner. We'll talk some Penn State sports here this afternoon. We'll talk about the college football playoffs and the potential changes. There's a lot of talk. People are making it sound like this is going to happen in the upcoming season, and it's not. You need unanimous consent to make changes, and there's no way the ACC and the Big 12 are going to say, yes, we'll just completely forego our opportunities to be the 3 and 4 seeds so that you can get more Big 10 and SEC teams seated ahead of us. So I don't know. I'm reading through a lot of stories. I'm like, unless I'm missing something, which is entirely possible.
See, I'm confused with it too, Jeff, because the article says could be changed by 26.
Yes.
Does that mean the 26th game or the 26th season?
26th
that's where people are getting confused.
Would be possible.
Because I had to look into that because I was led to believe that it was going to be, oh, wow, that could happen this year. But it's not.
I don't see – I just can't imagine why the ACC or the Big 12 would agree to it. I can't envision the circumstances where it's like, oh, yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Here's an extra $1 million for each of you. Okay, we're in.
I think the following year – and listen, there's a lot of I guess maybe we just come at this from different perspectives because almost all of the talking heads that I've listened to nationally over the last 24 hours or so are like, yes, absolutely, we need to do away with this idea of conference champions getting high seeds. It needs to be strictly on the rankings, and different people have different thoughts on how to clean up the rankings as well, and that needs to be a better process, and that we'll just definitively have the top 12 or potentially, I guess, next 2026 the top 14 teams. I think eventually the top 16 teams, and you just need to seed them in the order that they finish the season. And certainly a fine opinion to have, and seemingly there's almost unanimous consent among the national media that yes, clearly that's the way it should be. I do have a question. Is there any other sport where we do that? And I can't think of one. It's not how we do it in the NFL, not how we do it in Major League Baseball, not how we do it in the NHL, not how they do it in the NBA. In what sport do we not give conference champions, division champions, a higher seed than a team that might have a better overall record, but that is in another? I guess I just don't really understand it. I still also am hung up, and listen, I think all of this may change pretty quickly now anyway, but I just have never been comfortable with the idea that, hey, yes, you can play Division I football, and you will have a 0% chance of participating in our national championships at the end of the year. And right now, that is the case for roughly half of the Division I program.
Correct.
If you're from the Mid-American Conference, you are technically a D1 school, and you have no chance. I don't care how dominant. And I get it as far as it goes. Like, do I think that there's ever going to be a year where a MAC school is clearly a team that is more deserving or even as deserving as an SEC or a Big Ten champion, just on the sheer numbers, right? No, they don't have the scholarships that those schools do. So I understand it as far as it goes. It's just I don't know of any other sport where you have about half of your participants that it's like, yeah, no, you don't need to worry about the national championship. Our championship event at the end of the season, you're out of that, and we know that going in. And they seem relatively okay with it.
It is what it is, Bubba.
That's just
I mean, yeah,
the
I'm
most
with
bizarre
you.
thing
I mean, you've been hammering me on that for a couple of years now. Like, yeah, there's half the teams in this country who have no chance to play. I mean, they get one at-large bid for the top team in the non-power conference. But again, so you say that Bowling Green, who I thought was a very good team last year, what if they ran the table? Would they have gotten a shot? And probably not, because they would have given it. Who was the at-large? Was there an at-large? The non-power 5? Jeez, I forget them all already.
No, the way it's set up
Okay.
right now is it's just the top 4 conference champions. So, I mean, theoretically, I guess, yes, you could have a MAC champion go in as the 4th highest ranked, or
be
fifth,
a better shot at Notre Dame stunk.
5th highest ranked conference champion. Yeah, it's the top 5 ranked conference champions.
Now.
So you have, again, there are, I think there's still 11 conferences. Now the Pac-12, are they still going by the Pac-12 name? Has 2 teams.
I think there's only 2 teams in it, but
so
I think they're holding on to it.
I mean, you have basically almost half of your conferences that, again, will not have any role whatsoever. Now, there's also very few sports that are set up to be as completely disparate as Division I football is, where, again, it is admittedly fairly laughable that in the same quote-unquote league, you have an Alabama and Ohio State and a Kent State and a North Texas.
I mean, look at Villanova, Delaware. They're joining the Division I ranks right now.
Yeah.
These people are App State, Coastal Carolina, the people who've now moved up into the Division I rankings out of the 1AA or the football championship series, whatever heck they used to call it. So
yeah, not great timing on their part.
Not really at all.
Respect.
Yeah. They can entertain, hey, we're Division I, but yeah, you got no shot. No. They could change it in the next couple of years with victories over the Nittany Lions. Yeah, but I mean, you're right. It is the name of the game that the bigger will get bigger, the stronger will get stronger, and the best will get better. And it's just like, but you go back 50 years. Go back to like 1970s, and you look at the top 20, and it's very similar to what's still right there right now. You know what I mean? In football. Well, it's pretty much the same 20 to 30 teams over the last 50, 60 years that have just rotated. Nebraska, Penn State, we all have our tough times, have bad seasons. Michigan had a couple bad seasons. But it all goes back to the Blue Bloods. And
well, the other thing that's ridiculous about the Big Ten and the SEC proposal is the automatic 4 teams from each conference that would be in the playoffs. And again, most seasons, both of those conferences are likely to have 4 of the top 14 or 16 teams in the country. But you can't, on one hand, say, man, it was ridiculous that we had Boise State in as a 4 seed when they were ranked, I forget now what they were, 11th or 12th in the country, and then turn around and say, and if we have a team that is ranked outside of the top 25 but finishes 4th in our conference, they still must be seated in the top 14. Well, that's absurd.
Chip, do you think we'd complain more if we didn't have the schedule we did in the playoffs? Like if we didn't have SMU, then Boise. If we had to start off with Texas and then go up to play Ohio State, we'd have been like, what the hell? You know, I think that we had a pretty easy platform, and that's why we're all not worried about it, because it was like, oh, it worked out well for everybody last year because it worked out well for us.
Yeah, I don't know. I just find that whole thing it's just odd to me, and nobody else does. So I admit this is probably just a me thing. Do we ever do that with the NFL? Because every year there are teams where it's like, oh man, like that is a rough game to get right out of the gate because this team's red hot or whatever.
Yep.
It's like, well, right, and that's the formula that we use, and So
yeah, the Eagles played the Packers, and the Packers were a damn good football team in the opening round of the playoffs. It was like, holy crap.
And again, you may say, I mean, it's opinion anyway as to what an easier path is. If SMU plays the game of its life and knocks Penn State off at Beaver Stadium, and, well, come on, that didn't happen. Okay, I get it. But, again, Ohio State, it's not as though Ohio State was going to be a 2 seed if you took Boise State and seeded them lower and, okay, they were going to move up to a 6 seed. Well, was that really going to be fair to, I don't know who, Penn State may have ended up playing Ohio State out of the gate. Again, at the end of the day, in order to win a national title in any of these tournaments, I mean, I guess we do it in the brackets, although half the time people end up being wrong about, oh, man, this is an easy path for Kansas. Whoops, except for the fact that they just lost to Bucknell in the opening round. Never mind. So, I mean, yes, fans will do that, and media will do that. Man, that this path is easier. This region is easier. You got to go play the games. You know what the format is going in. And, yes, sometimes you're going to get a team that is a 9 seed that's red hot, has a superstar. Sometimes you're going to get, a 2 seed that's kind of stumbling down the stretch or maybe just lost a player. Well, that's welcome to life. You got to go try to win the championship. You've either got to, somewhere along the way, you are beating the teams that are the teams to beat, or you're beating the teams that knocked off the teams to beat. At the end of the day, yes, my one team, man, if they had this path, they would have been a Sweet 16 team instead of bouncing the first round. Okay. At the end of the day, what the tournament is really about is trying to determine the national champion. I understand in football, it's more difficult. You can get more, if you're playing a more physical team in that first round, that can have an impact. I get it, but you got to go play the games, and you got to go win a title. Somewhere along the way, you've got to beat some really good football teams.
Correct.
So, yeah, okay, it's an easier path, harder path, whatever. That's always going to be the case. I don't care if you get this thing where theoretically everybody agrees, man, these are the top 16 teams. That's clearly number 1. That's clearly number 2. And obviously that is never going to happen. But even if you had that, you're still going to have, oh, boy, that's a tough break there because, man, that team really caught fire here down the stretch. They have figured some things out. That quarterback that was struggling earlier is now just on top of his game. And this higher-seeded team, man, really unfortunate that their star running back got injured. And all of these rumors about the defensive coordinator taking this head coaching job seems to be a distraction. Oh, okay.
Your backup quarterback's the end of the draft, end of the transfer portal.
That's I don't know what you want people to do about that. That's sports. It's
let's just be happy that there's a playoff.
Go out and play the game that you're scheduled, and if you're good enough to go win a national title, then you're going to go win a national title. Go have at it. I don't know.
Now, you were on that soapbox a little bit. Would you like to go back the way it was with the 4-team playoff?
No, I like more teams. There's a lot, and that was a discussion too. It's like, there's too many teams anyway.
Hell no, there's not.
Determine the national champion, and
what we're figuring out,
the regular
season is but watered down. So let's lessen the regular season, expand the playoff, because that playoff this year, Jeff, did you have more fun watching Penn State football than you did this past year? When was the last time you had that much fun watching?
Yeah, I just think the product as a whole was more entertaining.
Yeah.
Because of the possibilities and trying to anticipate.
And we're not used to it yet. So people sitting there saying, oh, Ohio State's done. Ohio State's done. They lost to Oregon, and they get completely bamboozled by Michigan. And you're sitting there saying, they're not done. They're not. They're going to get in.
And listen, if we go to the 16, and really even if it stayed at 12,
yep.
Like we've talked about, there's always going to be debates and arguments over. All right, who should be the 11 and 12 teams. And man, I think the 13 team or the 14 team
You're right.
got the short end of the stick.
There could be 50 teams in there. 51 and 52 are complaining.
When you have that argument at 4 and 5, there is a real chance that you are leaving out a team that could go win the national title. See Notre Dame and Ohio State this past season. I think when you start getting to 12 and beyond, you're getting the teams that have a realistic shot of going in there and winning the national title.
No, I mean, Jeff, I'll go to my grave saying our 93 team that ended the season on a hot streak, beat Tennessee, destroyed Tennessee. I would have loved for us to have gotten into a playoff.
Yeah.
Because it was like we were so hot at the end of that year. KC was already in 1994 form. Offensive line was pretty good. Everything was there. It was the 94 offense, but it was 1993. And we had just really picked up a ton of momentum that season at the end of that year. We lost to Ohio State, Michigan, so I think we were in the top 10. So I think we would have made the playoff, and I know we would have made a good little run there at the end. And
yeah.
We're going back 10 years now. We will go back and say, looking at that Ohio State game, that Ohio State team that everybody and their mother counted out, and I'm just sitting there saying they're still in. Now, great job by Ryan Day for collecting his troops after just an absolutely devastatingly bad loss to Michigan at that time of year also. But if that wasn't a playoff year, they were fried. They were cooked, done. Yep. So I think that's good. That we don't have that aspect of it done yet because, we're still ranking teams and we're still calling teams out in playoff games last year regarding the old rules. Like, they lost to Northern Illinois. Notre Dame's not going to get in. Yes, of course they're going to get in. They have one loss. They're going to get in.
Yep.
And that one loss is not going to kill you. And that's always been a little bugaboo in the NCAA for years upon years is that one big loss. And then it's like, now you're done. Now you have no shot to get in.
Right. Yeah.
I like the fact that you could stumble. Notre Dame stumbled. Ohio State stumbled a couple times. In the same breath, Alabama stumbled a few times against really, really bad teams. So they made their own bet. I was watching Will Kane show the other day. He had Kyle DeBoer from Alabama on there. And Kyle DeBoer's like, hey man, we made our bet. We knew what we had to do. We didn't do what we had to do. We paid the piper. We didn't get into the playoff because we lost to Vanderbilt. You lost to Kentucky or whoever, or Arkansas. Just two of the three bad losses. So he understands it. Their fans just still don't understand it. They still can't grasp it. But he gets it. You can falter a little bit during the year and come back from that. Did you think we played in the Big Ten title game? I had no chance I had nothing in my mind thinking we had a chance to play for the Big Ten title.
Yeah.
And I think that playing the Big Ten title gave us a ton of confidence because we played Oregon and we hung with Oregon. Some defensive stops that we needed, they weren't there for us, but we knew that we could go out and dominate and run the ball and pass the ball and score points on the number one team in the country. And that was a lot of momentum going into that playoff run for us.
Yeah.
I like it. The 4 teams SEC, 4 teams Big Ten, I get it. I understand we have the most pieces in the puzzle. We have the most chips into the game. You know what I mean? We've bought in a couple times. We're the ones that are bringing in all the money. Like, those other conferences are not bringing that kind of money. And if it's truly about money, which it always ends up being at the end of the day, I'm okay with 4-4-4 if like the 4th team's not in the top 25. Like the number, the chances of a Big Ten team having 4 that are not in the top 25 in the SEC are very slim in my opinion. But if you're the 4th ranked team and you're not even in the top 25, then there should be like a little bit of a cutoff. Like, no, you must be in the top 25 to get this tournament.
Well, probably, yeah. I would. I don't know. I find it distasteful that you can, on one hand, say, well, no, we have to have the rankings determine those top 4 or 8 seeds, and then turn around and say, and no matter what, we need 4 teams in from our conference. Like that is extremely hypocritical and extremely arrogant. And again, if you're confident that your conference, and yes, I think more often than not, probably both conferences will have 4 teams in the top 16, like that they would be in there, regardless of whether you had the stipulation or not. Which then begs the question, well, then why do you need the stipulation? Well, in case we have a year where our conference is down a little bit. Well, what you're basically saying is we want to make sure we never give any other conference and any other programs other than ours a chance to get a leg up in the system. Well, again, at that point, then why not just have the Big Ten and the SEC break off, play your little conference, say this is big boy football, and let the ACC, the Big 12, and the other conferences play it in their division. That would be fine to me. That would be okay. What this feels like is the only 2 comparisons I can make. So, like, the NFL understands, like, it is a competitive league. The Kansas City Chiefs want to be the team that has the leg up. They want to be in the Super Bowl every year. So does every other team. The NFL understands that there has to be a competitive balance instituted, in that you can't just have it be that the Kansas City Chiefs are just an automatic every year. It has to be that, all right, man, we've set up a better system. We have a better coaching staff. We do a better job with the free agent signings. You know that you need the other 31 teams, and the other 31 teams need to have at least a competitive chance that if not this year, all right, in the next 2 to 5 years, we can build it back up. There's a path there. Now, you're always going to have organizations like the Cleveland Browns that can't get out of their own way, and it's a god-awful organization run by a god-awful owner. Well, that's, again, the NFL can't do anything about that, and you're going to have great organizations run by great folks, and they're going to be more consistently competitive in the upper levels. But you're going to have some ebb and flow, again, over the course of a decade, certainly over the course of a couple of decades. When we talk about like franchisees with restaurants, like you're competitive in the industry, and yes, you want to dominate the market, but you don't want the New York McDonald's to do so well and take all of the resources that we just shut down all of the McDonald's in northern Pennsylvania. Well, that isn't, like, you need some, again, competitive balance. You want to be able to win everywhere, but you recognize, we need the multiple franchises. What college football, what the Big Ten and the SEC seem to be thinking right now is that we just want these other conferences to be there so that we can step all over them. We want their teams so that we can get some wins and generate some more revenue. We definitely don't want to ever give them the opportunity to get up and think that they are going to be competitive year in and year out with us. Well, that does not work. So long term, that is saying, not are you saying that
there might be only one ACC team, one Big 12 team, or will there be multiples depending on the rankings?
The way the proposal that they have is it's 4 Big 10, 4 SEC, 2 Big 12, 2 ACC, and then you have 2 at-large bids. Presumably, more often than not, one of those would go to Notre Dame. And so you're going to have one opportunity for somebody out there, and maybe they talked about, all right, we give one other, the highest ranked other conference champion the opportunity, and then you have one at-large bid, which if it's Notre Dame, so then you're saying there is no chance ever of a third-place team in the ACC, never a chance for, if you had 2 undefeated non-Power 5 conference or Power 4 now conference champions, you had 2 powerhouse
I'm
programs
okay with that.
In a year. sorry, it doesn't matter. We got to make sure that our 7-5 fourth place team that lost 3 games to nobodies, we got to make sure that team is in there. Sorry. It's just absurd. It's not. You're not creating a competitive environment.
Now remember who's making these decisions.
And again,
this is idiot conferences from the NCAA. They're never going to make the right decision. It took them 100 years to get to this point.
Well,
you know what I mean? I understand what you're saying, and I get it, but there's this who watches college football? SEC and Big 12 and Big 10 and the SEC. They run college football. When was the last time a title came from not one of those conferences? I'm okay with it because we do have to play the toughest. Those 2 conferences are the deepest, and you are playing bigger games throughout the year. They have the most money from the television contracts because they have people who tune in to watch their games, and I get it. He who has all the coins, who has all the chips, makes all the rules, and I'm okay with that. And yes, it does suck for the other teams. There's no doubt in my mind, but again, it's a lot better than what we've had here for the last 75 years. So, anything we're talking about going ahead and having more teams qualifying for playoffs is great. I get it. I can understand what your point's coming from with saying that, because there is a Cincinnati out there. There is a SMU before last year. They would have had no shot had they not joined the conference. So I guess I get you, but I'm okay with the Big Ten and the SEC demanding that they should have 4 teams each. It's their games. I don't know. I'm on that side. I'm on the Big Ten side, so I'm okay with us getting more because we do bring more to the table than the ACC, the Big 12, and then Mountain West, ACC, MAC, all that stuff.
I'm just trying to envision if other sports tried to incorporate this, the reaction.
We've always been different. Football's always been different that way.
Would come from it because. You could argue the ACC and the SEC drive eyeballs to the TV set for the college basketball. But we don't. And there's not even a push from those conferences. And even if you had the Big Ten in there's not even a push from those conferences or coaches that, hey, we need to guarantee that we have 8 teams every year from our conferences. No, it's like, most years we know what we're going to have.
For the SEC and the Big Ten, I guarantee you the ACC and the Big 12 are going to be saying that in basketball.
I doubt it. I doubt it because.
But there's so much money in the basketball stuff already. I don't think anybody wants to say boo and don't rock the boat. That's a lot of money in that tournament.
Yeah, I just I just can't envision the scenario in any other sport where. Well,
let's go back to the point. I can't envision 136 college football teams within the next 10 years playing at this level right now. I just don't think that they don't have the $20 million to pay the players. They're already, again, we got to go back to it. Who are the conferences? How are the MAC teams going to spend $22 million on their profit sharing?
Yeah.
So they're already acting in the red. How are they going to now produce $22 million for their athletes?
Yeah, and I guess maybe that's at the end of the day kind of my point is if we're, and you could argue, listen, it's not, and but I would argue it's never been anything close to equality or even opportunity here because as we've said, going in that there's 6 conferences that have zero shot of having a team contend for the national title. So maybe, this just allows us to truly separate and understand and go to, again, 30 or 40 teams that, hey, this is big time college football. Then you have the other programs in whatever we're going to call it, but that secondary level, and then, trickles on down. and that would be fine. Again, to me. And if you want to say, yep, we just we're going to have a 16-team format. We have these are the 40 schools, and we're going to have 4 from each. That fine. That makes some sense. This, the way that they're talking about it right now, to me, just does not make any sense.
So I have a question. Is it $22 million for each athletic department? So
what is
Bowling
being
Green,
proposed is that.
So
yes.
so let's go back to, let's say, Villanova and Delaware, who are now joining Division I. They're going to have to go up $22 million more than they. Is that everyone has to do that, right?
That is what they are saying.
That will be. I think that they have probably set themselves up to like, okay, well, can't do the $22 million. Sorry, you can't play. You're joining the 1AA again. Yeah.
Well, we have a question here. Seth, I'm going to pick up your question when we come back. He's asking what do we think happens to the non-revenue sports like wrestling in the future with all of this money for football? And, it dovetails with what we're talking about because it's not going to be a one-size-fits-all answer. I don't believe. Now, long-term, we'll see. Maybe eventually we get there where one size does fit all. We'll kick that around a little bit when we return. It is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on Sports Radio 98.7. The Fall.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates, Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU.
Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
Get up and get going with the Happy Valleys 98.7 The Fox. The Goon and Ironhead.
We are back here on a Thursday afternoon, heading into another busy weekend. Bo Bartlett named the Big Ten Wrestler of the Week after his 2-0 performance last weekend, including the big win, 4-2 over Jesse Mendez, the returning national champion. Of course, Bartlett now one of 4 Nittany Lions who are ranked number 1 in the country at their respective weight. The Nittany Lions will wrap up the dual schedule tomorrow against American University. That'll be a 7 o'clock start at Rec Hall tomorrow night. All right, I want to get back to Seth asking about what happens to non-revenue sports like wrestling in the future with all of this money for football. And that is one of the great questions right now. And anybody that tells you they know definitively how this shakes out is not being honest. They might have a good guess. They might be right. And there's certainly probably some people that know better than I do for sure about how this may ultimately work out or not work out, depending on your perspective. Already, this is one of the things that I think is just so difficult right now to project what the future looks like. Is there this $22 million that everybody is throwing around as the presumed number that, yep, that's what these the programs that have D1 football, that's what they're going to have available. And there's no parameters right now on that. Now, could there be parameters put on? I suppose. But right now, it's each athletic department has $22 million, and you need to provide that as a revenue sharing opportunity for your student athletes.
Correct.
Well, for all of the student athletes, well, no. Oh, for which student athletes? Well, that's up to you. You figure that out. And
the profit sharing.
I'm just telling you right now. Revenue sharing.
Gotcha.
One of the things that is already happening is different schools are handling this differently. I don't know of any school. I am very confident, just about 100% guaranteed. There is no school that is taking this and saying, all right, we have $22 million. We have 450 student athletes, varsity student athletes. We are splitting that $22 million equally among the 450 of you. Nobody is doing that. Some schools are saying and are already notifying their coaches and teams, hey, that $22 million that goes to our football and our basketball program. So the two revenue generators, therefore those folks get the revenue sharing.
Correct.
Nobody else is generating revenue. Nobody else gets anything. I am not aware, but there may very well be, I'm not aware of any schools that have definitively said to this point, hey, all of our programs are getting something here out of this. If you're a varsity sport, you're getting something.
No,
everybody is saying football is going to get a majority. Everybody that I'm aware of
75% is the number I've heard.
Not 75% where?
Of the $22 million will go to football.
Where?
That's what I've heard here.
At Penn State.
Yeah.
I'm saying that 75% is, that's Penn State. It could be 80% at another school, could be 100% at another, could be 50.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying is the numbers are going to be all over the place. And this is going to be this is one of the things that I think is really going to be very challenging until or unless there's some parameters put on this. And I'm not suggesting I know what the parameters should be at all. But if you have one school, let's say your number is right, that 75% of that 22 million goes to football,
105 players,
and 10% goes to basketball, to men's basketball.
Okay.
And then the 15%, again, there's going to be programs that get none of that. There will be programs that get a greater portion of that than others. And again, how that gets divvied up is, at Penn State, like Pat Kraft seems to like the wrestling program. My guess is the wrestling program will do okay. My guess is the women's volleyball program will do okay. And I don't know what okay means. I think they'll get a good cut of it. But
you think
at a school like Illinois or a school like Northwestern, I don't think they're looking at wrestling or women's volleyball as a high priority. There's not great traditions there. There's tradition. There's great. I mean, I don't want. They're not winning national titles, team championships. I'm talking about. So, I think you're going to have wildly different scenarios. Now, to some extent, as we've talked about, like in wrestling, there are D1 schools that are competing at the NCAA tournament every year. They get some qualifiers in who have literally half of the, and probably less than that, of these 9.9 scholarships that have been available for wrestling. So you have D1 teams that have like 4 scholarship student athletes on their roster. We're not even full scholarship athletes, but I mean, they're divvying up 4 scholarships instead of the 9.9. To go back to the earlier point, so those schools clearly, like a Gardner-Webb, has no chance of winning a national title in wrestling as a team. Now, could they get an individual national champion in? Give a full scholarship, man. You're going to be our marquee athlete. We're going to do everything we can to get you NIL money. Yeah, you could. Yeah. You could have an individual here or there, and we've had that over the years. Same thing in the sports that have gymnastics. Same thing in the schools that have track and field. Like you can have. We want to see if we can get an individual who can kind of put our school via that program on the map. But there's going to be other programs that, again, just aren't going to get anything. It's like, we'll still fund your scholarships.
I want you to stop right there.
Yep.
You're getting the scholarship funded.
For now. Yep. Now, I think when you tell the coaches that, and they look around and say, well, how long are we going to be competitive here? And then, again, I think schools and coaches will come to mutual agreements. Yeah, you know what? This just isn't going to work out for our program to
give me a scenario. You're probably thinking baseball, right?
Here. I'm thinking any and all sports that aren't football and men's basketball.
So you're thinking that women's lacrosse, if they don't get NIL money, you think they're going to lose players? If they're not getting in a profit share type of thing, is what I'm asking. If they're getting all their scholarships paid for.
If they are trying to compete against schools that are providing those opportunities, correct. Like, I'm out on the recruiting trail. Hey, Jill, we'd love you to come play lacrosse for our program. Oh, that sounds good. I'm also getting an offer over here from Maryland. Maryland's offering me $60K a year to go play women's lacrosse. What do you offer me here?
Here's what I'm going to say about
we're
that,
offering
Jeff.
you nothing. We'll offer you the scholarship, and there's all kinds of parameters that are going to be put on that. You're not going to be able to leave without paying that scholarship back. I don't think it's going to be real long before those programs say, yeah, we can't really compete.
If you take
time to shut down.
Okay, let's just take baseball. They went from 9 scholarships to 30-some scholarships. Now, if Penn State decides they're going to fill all those scholarships and say, tell the coach, we're giving you 30 scholarships. You go out and go raise your NIL money. How can a coach complain?
There is no chance Penn State is funding 30 scholarships for baseball.
I mean,
like no chance.
It's $1.5 million. I would say average tuition between the out-of-state and state will meld together.
Very few of these programs are going to be funded at the maximum
okay,
level
so
the non-revenue
Mike,
sports.
Coach gave me you're going to go from 9 to 20 scholarships. We're going to pay for 10 more scholarships for you. But now your job is to go out and get the NIL money.
And again, at a school like Penn State, that may work. At a school, at a smaller school, and I don't even, Bucknell, maybe you have a rich alumnus, maybe you don't. And if you don't, hey, it's been real. Sorry. Those 25 opportunities
it's going to trickle down.
For high school kids to go compete at the collegiate level,
here.
Gone.
We noticed that at Penn State. It was all, nothing came from Penn State, nothing came from the Big Ten, nothing came from the NCAA. It all came from fans.
What I think is going to be interesting to see is the long-term impact. And I don't think this is going to be real immediate, but maybe a generation or two from now, the impact this will have at the high school level. Hey, man, we were offering wrestling. We have a great tradition. Yeah, there's like 50 opportunities to get scholarships collegiately. No thanks. we got basketball over here. I'll go try my hand at basketball. I'll try my hand at training year-round for football. These non-revenue sports, Olympic sports at the high school level, it's going to be fascinating to watch. The long-term impact and consequences here of these programs leaving. We're seeing high school sports overall have grown, more opportunities than ever. We're also seeing participation numbers overall start to decline. It is going to be really interesting to watch what sports are able to sustain high school programs and where kids see, you know what, it might be a viable option for me to get to the college level versus, realistically, that's not a path. Sorry. We're not interested in that sport at the high school level. And then that obviously trickles down to the youth level. We'll see. I think there's some long-term, pretty consequential impacts of what's coming down the road here when it comes to intercollegiate athletics and the trickle-down effect, if you will, that it's going to have on sports participation.
We haven't even brought up the biggest elephant in the room. Title IX. I know that there's works to go that going away type of thing, but I mean that's gonna argue that for a long time. I mean, you're going to give your money to your men's basketball and your football programs. The women's sports are going to go absolutely ballistically crazy because they're not getting the same as other sports. It's just, we've had 50 years of Title IX. I understand it. I mean, is it right? Yes. Do they? I mean, is it right? On one hand, yes, it is, and on the other hand, maybe it's not. I mean, you can argue both sides of that. That's in the courts right now. If that's going to still be a thing anymore, but I mean, do you imagine if you're going to give men's basketball money, you're going to have to give women's basketball that same amount of money? I mean, it's just there's just so much to unwrap. It's crazy to even think about it. We're talking about just the high school level going into the collegiate level. Now we're on to the playoffs and stuff like that. We're at that point, but in between, who's getting money? There's all this money, and it's just like I'm going to go back to my ultimate argument. How much money were they freaking making that we didn't know about for decades? And when I was playing and stuff like that, I mean, holy crap, man! I mean, we got a scholarship. I mean, this was how long? I mean, up to what, 5 years ago, 2000, when did NIL 2019?
Well,
Excuse me.
between the NIL and the transfer portal, and again, there's going to be some sort of parameters put on this at some point. But again, what this means for the non-revenue sports long term, I think is just really hard to get a handle on, and certainly it is going to be changing from what we've known it as, and whether or not we get to a point where all of these non-revenue sports go more of the club route, and it's like, yep, you guys can go raise your own money.
Is that
in
a
the
bad
schools
thing,
that can do it? Different people have different perspectives in terms of the educational opportunities. Yep, it's going to be pretty devastating for some kids and families that can't afford college, that saw that as a viable option, and now there's a bunch of other things that may be changing with the education system, so maybe it's not going to be as big of a deal. More and more folks are going the online route, and you're not having to pay nearly as much in tuition. You're certainly not paying for the housing and all of the books and all of the other costs that go with it. So long-term consequences, again, I don't know. I have some guesses on some of it, but nobody does.
Take me for example, Jeffrey. I'm not going to college if I did not play football. That's just how I was. How do I mean? My brother Buck got here in '83. Before that, he was the first kid to go to college in our family. But I guess that was like the beginning of, hey, college is important. You got to do this. You got to do this. So my parents learned from that by the time I got through. But I mean, normally, I don't know. We can go to the whole political route and say, is the great white lie of college being exposed right now, that you can't do anything in this world without a college education? I truly personally believe it is. I mean, there's the cost of going to college from when you and I went to school to what it is now is astronomically, completely asinine. It's amazing to me how people can afford to pay for their children to go to school. I mean, you went to school, I went to school, you knew people. You probably worked in the all season and then paid for your education a little bit.
Yeah,
you try to do that now. How the hell are you coming up with $55,000 from out of state, or $65,000 out of state, or $40,000? And I mean, you can't do that in the summer. If you are, I'd take that job year round. I mean, everything's changing about this whole freaking thing. There's a lot going to go on. A lot. I mean, I know that we're talking about. We're not talking about it. Well, it's insinuating that a lot of the college campuses across Penn State's, what is the World Campus, or they're going to start closing some of them down, it seems. They haven't admitted it. They haven't said anything, but they have not denied it. I mean, why is there 12 schools around the state of Pennsylvania? I mean, if they want more kids here at Penn State because the enrollment in Altoona and enrollment at Barron are down, or Penn State Ogon's down in my hometown. Enrollment's down there. Enrollment's down in Penn State, Maine. You get those kids from those schools. They're now coming to Penn State, Maine as freshmen. I mean, that's how it's the changing world of the college campus, and the next dozen years is unbelievable. And you're right. I mean, I agree with you. There's some stuff I didn't agree with you on, but what you said about the trickle-down effect into the high school level, yeah, that's going to have major implications on that. Major league implications.
Yeah, and again, we don't know how really any of this is ultimately going to play out in terms of do scholarships just become a thing of the past outside of football, basketball, maybe even there. It's like, well, yeah, we're not actually paid for your scholarship. You're making $1 million a year. You could figure out
I've often thought
how
that too.
To pay your tuition out of that if that's what you want to do. And listen, there are folks out there that are convinced that we are heading toward like the college football won't actually be college football. Like they'll still be in those locations and they'll be affiliated with the university towns anyway. But there are some that believe that, listen, the college part of it is going to be very much optional. And maybe 80, 90% of the kids say, yeah, man, while I'm here, why would I not take classes? But maybe 10%, maybe more say, yeah, no, I just want to make the money while I'm here. I'll represent your area, not your school. This will be my kind of full-time job for the next. And this is the other thing. Booch was the first one I heard that brought this up. And it is getting more and more discussion of. There is a suit that's already been filed where there is a student athlete who's saying, listen, I'm continuing my academic career beyond the 4 or 5 year model that we currently have. I want to keep playing. Who are you to tell me I can't keep playing?
Yeah, I'm making great money
it's a
here.
Good question. Yes, they want to keep making the money. They want to keep pursuing their education. Who are you to tell me that I can't take advantage of the opportunity? 2
scenarios that you have, and one is that guy was a JUCO guy. He wanted those JUCO years back because they counted against his eligibility. And I agree with that, but there's also guys, so like, I don't want to say Ace Baldwin, but is Ace Baldwin an NBA player?
Probably not.
Yes. Can he make more money in State College, Pennsylvania, playing men's basketball for Penn State University than going to Europe or playing in the NBA D League? And the answer is yes. So why is a guy like him, and I'm not calling Ace out in his, I'm just saying that type of player who is a very, very, very good player at the collegiate level who has no real future in the NBA, does he start suing, like the Booch said from the start, does he sue the NCAA saying, listen, I'll go to class, I can go for another degree, I could play 8, 9 years, 10 years in the collegiate level and make more money than I would playing basketball in Europe or playing basketball in the NBA D leagues? I mean, there is just a lot of crap, man. A lot of it.
We will take a break here. You're listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fall.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing and State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
WFXX, once again. The Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, The Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back here on a Thursday afternoon, heading into another busy little weekend. I do want to mention a programming note. We will have tomorrow night here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox, the District 6 6A championship games in both girls and boys basketball. The state high squads will be going for titles. The State College girls at 6 o'clock will be facing Altoona. They split the two regular season meetings. The first one went to State College in Altoona, and then Altoona thumped State College pretty good at the State High North gym. That loss to State College for Altoona back in December is the last time the Altoona girls lost a game. They only have 2 losses all season. They're riding a 19-game win streak into the District 6 championship tomorrow night. That'll be a 6 o'clock tip at Bald Eagle Area High School in Wingate. And then at 7:30, the State College boys will face Mifflin County. It'll be the first time those two teams have met this season. Both teams with 9 wins on the year. And again, we'll have both of those games for you tomorrow right here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox. Of course, we'll have wrestling coverage coming up next weekend as we move into the regional action. And we'll have that coverage for you again on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox next weekend. Mike Lang, if you did not hear the news, passed away yesterday. Long time, 46 years. When I say long time. Announcer for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Very unique style, of course, known for his catchphrases, but he really was just phenomenal at calling the game. And everybody you talked to that knew the guy, I never had the chance to meet him. I really wish I had. Everybody you talked to who had any interaction with him tells you that he was just as down to earth and fun of a person to be around, and treated everybody truly the same, and treated everybody extremely well. Just a really kind, generous individual, and again, as good a hockey broadcaster as I think there's ever been. Went through a lot of very lean years with the beloved Penguins, and then obviously enjoyed some pretty spectacular seasons as well. But Mike Lang will be sorely missed.
Sure.
Gone way too soon at the age of 76. Retired right before, not right before, but before the 2021-2022 season. So coming, on the heels of the pandemic, he's like, yep, time to get out. We're good. And I had some health issues. I had not seen. I don't know if they've updated this afternoon. As of this morning, there was not really any cause given for his
76. He's young though, man. For nowadays,
I'm telling you.
So I mean, I'll give you my little synopsis as the outsider coming here in 1991. You know, the Flyers stunk at that point. That was their downtime of their biggest downtime in their history, probably till now. But Pennsylvania athletics was absolutely blessed with some unbelievably great announcers.
You are not kidding.
I mean, the Sixers, Phillies, Flyers, Eagles had absolutely great guys.
Yep.
The Steelers with Myron Cope, Mike Lang, and the baseball guys. I mean, I always enjoyed. I don't know about nowadays, but I did enjoy listening to the old school Buccos broadcast because that's all we could get. We couldn't get Philadelphia stations when I was here. So if I wanted to watch a hockey game, and it was a pretty good damn time to watch hockey in Pittsburgh in 1991 through 1995. I mean, that's pretty good years for you guys. But was there ever his sayings? Did he have rationale? Like, move out of the fast lane, mama, grandma, bingo games. That's hilarious to me.
They all had an origin. One of them they kind of kept to himself, but reportedly a lot of them came from his hanging around and talking to other people at the bars. And somebody would say something, and he just, all right, and or somebody would
scratch my back with a hacksaw.
Yeah, it was always fun. I mean, one of the fun things when you listen to Mike Lang is, all right, which catchphrase could almost hardly wait for a goal.
Right? The first goal wasn't always that first saying, and then the second goal was he just changed them all the time, right?
Yeah, you want to see what's it going to be.
He was hilarious to listen to. He really, truly was. Myron Cope was absolutely hilarious to listen to. But Mike Lang, I mean, he definitely. I had Gene Hart growing up, and then I had Doc Emmerich, and Jackson right now with the Flyers, and they're absolutely all. They were all just top of the charts.
Yep.
But Mike Lang was right there with them, and being a Flyers fan and stuff like that, you had to deal with, I'll scratch my back with that. Like, shut up. You know what I mean? It was always, it used to infuriate you, but you get to the side and talk to the other Flyer fans, like, that's pretty cool, man. I love that announcer. I used to enjoy listening to games with him, and that says a lot. That this is a team I have no vested interest in whatsoever, that I would watch just to hear that guy talk. And obviously, the play of the Penguins in that era was unbelievable. And again, not being able to get my Flyers, having to watch a lot of Penguins games to get my hockey fix. But I definitely fell in love with Mike Lang, man.
Yeah,
he was really, really good.
There's not a lot of announcers that I'll listen to for other teams just because I love their announcing. I will say Harry Callis was at the top of the hit list for me.
He was great.
Just to listen to his voice was just like, I want to hear that voice into the microphone. So, rest in peace, Mike Lang.
Again, we've been blessed. I was blessed my whole life. I was talking to Alan off the air. I mean, the whole state of Pennsylvania was absolutely blessed. I mean, Merrill Reese and Myron Cope doing the Eagles and the Steelers is just unbelievable. And by the way, both of those guys are about 4'11" each, and they have these big booming voices. But Mike Lang, God bless, God rest your soul, sir. You were a fun man to listen to watching hockey.
Yeah,
and he was beloved. Now, I guess that he had an issue, got in a little bit of trouble, lost the on-air TV job, so he was just on the radio. But, I mean, I would listen to him all the time if I could.
Yeah, he was as good as there was.
What was your favorite?
In hockey? I don't know that I had one specific. I enjoyed, buy Sam a drink and get his dog one, too, was probably the go-to for a while. But, yeah, pretty hard to pick out one over the others. Just a lot of fun to listen to and to see which one he was going to pull out in a given game or after a given goal. So, yeah, rest in peace, Mike Lang, and thank you for the memories as a
Incorporated
Penguins
Elvis
fan.
into it too.
Yeah.
Can't be all that.
Speaking of hockey, Penn State, big series this weekend at Michigan State, starting tomorrow night, and then the two teams will square off again on Saturday night. And Goon, if Penn State can get a split here in this this series, that resume starts to look pretty darn impressive for getting to the NCAA tournament, which is. It's just hard to believe that with where this team was going into the new year, coming out of the first semester, that it could be in this position. Yep. But Guy Godowski has that team playing very, very well. Obviously, Aiden Fink is leading the way, but it's just a really good team top to bottom. They've obviously put some things together, figured some things out, and now they go into the top-ranked team in the country, and with an opportunity to really make a pretty definitive statement that they belong in the NCAA tournament here at the end of the year.
We're talking about how some college teams in football getting in the playoffs get hot and make a run.
Yeah,
that's what Guy is known for. We talked about Allen the other day. Always has his team playing well this time of year. Always has them at their highest. Yeah, they're playing at their highest rate right now. And if I'm Michigan State, I'm petrified of this upcoming series because they have a lot to lose, and Penn State has nothing to lose. Penn State's going to go out there, and they're playing as well as anybody right now in the country. And that's crazy to say because of what you said. Before the winter break, it was bad. I mean, then we go in the same breath. Basketball, the 20-point win last night.
Yeah, you just. I mean, honestly, it was almost as frustrating watching that game as it was watching the games during the 7-game losing skid. Just because it's like, man, this is what this team is capable of.
Yeah,
and listening to the broadcast, it sounded like, that was kind of Mike Rhodes' message was like, just go play. Like, could you just go out and have some fun and play the way you guys are capable of? And listen, Yannick got them off to a big start. Conan Niederheiser, if you watched the game last night, just had himself a first half. And really, just Nebraska had no answers for him. I mean, they didn't have a lot of answers, period. And they were struggling with the turnovers and the whole bit. But, man, I mean, Yannick just kind of owned that game in the first half. Now, Nebraska made some adjustments. Slowed him down considerably in the second half, but then you had Kearns and others, heating up. Penn State shot 60% plus from the floor last night, which is just absurd. And again, a very impressive 89-72 win, but still 4 tough games remaining.
Right.
Like it's, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it is really hard to imagine as we sit here now, even after this impressive performance against Nebraska, to imagine how they get into the Big Ten tournament, let alone anything else, because they probably need to win at least 3 of the final 4 games realistically to have a shot here at the Big Ten tournament. And again, it starts with a trip to Minnesota here on Saturday. That in and of itself feels like a pretty daunting task right now.
Yeah. And, Mike, I guarantee he has those kids up for the challenge. And they took the pressure off him, I think.
Yeah.
Just go play. Go play. Go have fun. Get out there. Get it done, man. Yeah, but you were exactly right, Jeff. That was as frustrating to watch as that 7-game losing streak. Watching it happen in slow motion.
Man, this is what this team's capable of.
4 of those 7 games you win, you're a whole different situation.
Yeah.
And, Mike knows that. We're not telling Mike. We're not telling anybody. Nothing to do. The coaches and players don't know.
Yeah.
That's the worst part about it. But hey, build from here, man. What's he going to? He's going to challenge him and say, "Listen, let's get in. Let's go." Talk about making a run, getting hot at the end of the year. You win 3 of these next 4 games. Hey. We're 14th in the Big Ten right now. We got a shot. Let's go.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, trust me. I know.
I'm not even sure 3 of 4 gets it done.
We're running uphill in a monsoon.
Yeah, I just man.
But he's challenging. As a
been.
coach, that's what he's doing, obviously.
But
frustrating.
Yeah,
but a good win.
Yeah, for sure. Puts the brakes on that 7-game losing streak and all of that. Anytime you just get a win when you're having the season they're having, it definitely just is a bit of a relief and feels good, at least in the moment. One other, going back to hockey for a second, Penn State women's hockey team will be watching to see who their opponent will be. They'll host a best-of-3 semifinal series next weekend. Quarterfinal round will be this Saturday, and Penn State will learn it. They'll host the lowest remaining seed. Robert Morris, I think, is the 6th seed, and will take on 3rd-seeded Syracuse. And then you have Lindenwood and RIT meeting in the other semifinal, likely, assuming Syracuse takes care of business against Robert Morris. Penn State likely will face the winner of that Lindenwood RIT game in the semifinal series next weekend at Pagola Ice Arena. And Penn State is having itself a fantastic season to this point, and obviously has a chance to, depending on what happens here in the postseason, put together a year that'll be remembered, at least for this program, as the best to date for that Penn State women's hockey program. So all of that going on. Again, we have hockey tonight as well. We'll stay with the hockey theme. We have Team USA and Canada, and passion is high.
Want you on board, Ironhead?
It is. Well, I'm on board for winning. I don't think it's a great omen for the NHL that you're disrupting your season for a couple of weeks at this stage of the year, and having your guys go out and play in a tournament that has nothing to do with your product directly. I think that's I don't know. I don't think that bodes well for where you're at. But is it generating interest? Of course. And with the political backdrop with the United States and Canada right now, it certainly is adding to the intrigue and interest in tonight's game. Will be a little after 8 o'clock. The United States and Canada will face off on ESPN, and we'll see.
I'm asking for one thing.
Yep. What do you ask?
Don't boo the Canadian national anthem. Don't stoop to that level. You know what I mean?
I don't know that it'll be widespread. I'll be shocked if there's no booing of the Canadian national anthem.
What they do, just shuts up and turns her back and
booing of the U.S. anthem up in Montreal last week. So,
correct. And what did that lead to? I mean, listen, this is as good a hockey as we've seen. And like I told you the other day, the 1996 World Cup of hockey was the best hockey I physically have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, these last 4 games have just been unbelievable. 5 games, because I told Alan, I said I watched the Finland-Sweden game, man. I mean, when in the hell would you ever do something like that? But I was like, the hockey is just at such a high caliber and a high physicality, and it's like exactly everything I want and I love about hockey is how it is a physical game, but yet poetry on ice with the motions and how the guys can move the puck around and shoot and what they can do with the puck. And then you got guys, like I said on Tuesday, I said, you got guys who are star players who are just mucking and grinding as 4th line guys trying to get their team. They're like the Crash Davis, they're like the idiot 4th line guy who's just come up from Rochester. He just got called up and he's all ready to go and wailing and this and that. And then these are like star players having to do these roles. And it's amazing to me, the level of hitting, the physicality, the scoring, the speed. I mean, you cannot tell me that not watching, that Canadian team and you watch the American team and Eichel and Matthews, and you're like, these guys are like, it's like watching Sidney Crosby 10 years ago when he was like a step and a half faster than anybody on the ice. I mean, obviously Sid is caught up. People have caught up to Sidney a little bit. He's, probably 59 years old now, it seems like. But, I mean, there's a guy right there. He's leading the tournament in scoring. You really don't see it. I mean, he's not. He just goes out there and does whatever it takes for his team to win. And you have to absolutely love that as a sport, that your top guys in the league are taking on third and fourth line roles right now. And it's all about the team, the numbers on the name on front of the chest rather than the one on the back. And I think that if it wasn't a predominantly Canadian sport, the NHL would never do that. If it was an American sport, because American sports, they're going to watch out for their athletes. Like you're saying, you don't want to break up your season for 2 weeks. I mean, how many guys are hurt right now? You're going to go back to the NHL right now and have to play hurt, or they might be injured, and you're losing guys on your clock for a tournament that you made no money on. But if there was an NHL team that was run by mostly Americans, I don't think that would be allowed. But the Canadian pride and national pride that goes in from Canada when it comes to their hockey stuff, I think that's why it's come to this. And I love it. I absolutely. I mean, it's the best hockey I've seen in 20 years.
It'll be a scene tonight.
Holy crap,
that is
Jeff.
for sure.
1996 is almost 30 years ago. I'm going home. I need a nap.
Yeah.
Holy crap, man.
No,
I remember I told you on Tuesday I went and saw the second ever game played at the Quaker State Center, which was the new Spectrum, the new one that's still there now. It was Sweden and Canada, man. And I'm telling you, I have never seen that kind of speed on ice and physicality on ice that I was watching that game. It was unbelievable. And then the Americans go against Canada for the 3-game final, and it was literally the best hockey I've ever seen in my life played until now. I mean, you watch the USA locker room. They're playing Leonard Skinner. They're playing Aerosmith. It's like 1979 in there. It's unbelievable. And these guys are all bought in. They've all bought in. And, God, it's so awesome to watch. And I'm very, very, very jacked up for this game tonight. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I am. I really haven't seen the tournament to this point. Oof. Just other things going on. I will be locked in tonight, and I am looking forward to seeing the U.S. and Canada and all of the backdrop and all of the potential theatrics involved. I think just add to it, and I will be curious to see. This is where though I'll be curious to see what the ratings are for this game tonight.
Yep.
And then I'll be really curious to see what the ratings are for the NHL finals, whoever those teams are. And we'll see how that plays out. I have a pretty good idea of how those ratings are going to compare. And I just wonder if I hear what you're saying, and I'm not saying the tournament isn't great and high level and all of that. I'm just wondering if it's actually helping your product, the NHL product. Financially, I guess maybe it is. Yeah. Do you think there's going to be any more eyeballs tuned into the Stanley Cup Finals
will look at
as a result of this tournament?
I said it the other night, and I said if you're not a hockey fan and you watch this game and you don't become a hockey fan, you'll never become a hockey fan. That's how high of a grade of hockey was being played on Saturday night. Could not believe what I was watching.
Yeah, but I just
and I get it, but it's just like when we watch World Cup soccer.
Yep,
I love watching World Cup soccer. I don't like watching soccer. I can watch World Cup soccer because it's played at such a high level.
That's actually a great comparison. So you watch the World Cup, and then when the Major League Soccer finals come around, are you tuned in at all?
No, but I will.
And that's not even.
I will give it a shot. And I get you. I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to tell you right now, if people will look at that hockey, but they have to realize that they're watching the highest. Like you're literally watching the highest level of hockey on the earth right now. And then you're going to go watch a Boston versus Canadian game on Saturday night. Yes, that's not going to compare, but you know that can be done. And what you're saying is right.
But you're putting that comparison in right before your biggest event of the year, your playoffs. It's
only halftime. I mean, we still got 3 months till the playoffs. I know what you're saying, though, because I do watch the World Cup, and then will I ever watch an MLS game? No, because it's a lower level of hockey, of soccer, and I don't really appreciate that. But the hockey stuff, I mean, hockey's a different sport, man. You can't really hide out there. I mean, you can't really. Now, you've heard me say before, I have talked to people who have said you can't play at that highest level 82 games a year because you won't physically make it. So where I say that's the difference in football, if you're not playing football at 100 miles an hour, you're going to get hurt. Where hockey, I mean, it's always been a near and dear sport in my heart. And the brand that's being played right now, the physical brand, the Kachuk brothers. I want the Flyers to just trade their whole team and just pick up the two Kachuk brothers and just go out there and just beat the tar out of everybody. I mean, they look like psychopaths out there. It's absolutely fantastic watching those knuckleheads out there. So I do hope it does pick up a little bit of momentum for the sport. I mean, is there a bump in the level of viewership after the Olympics? Because this is about as high as the Olympic, the physicality and the speed of the game are just as well as it is the Olympics, because it's national pride out there, and USA and Canada are the two best teams out there, and they just don't like each other, and it's just a beautiful game, man.
Tonight's game will be.
Now, if the Boston fans want to do anything, just chant 51, 51, 51, or pay your taxes. That would infuriate Canadians more than anything, in my opinion. But don't boo the anthem. I don't appreciate that. When they booed ours, I was very mad. So I don't want to see our stoop to that level.
I don't disagree with you,
but there will be booers.
I strongly suspect you'll have some in that.
And I know you said you haven't watched it, but Jeff, they literally have said it before every national anthem, regardless of your political, regardless of politics and this and that. Please refrain from, from making any noise during the national anthems. Yeah. They have said it every game, and now the Canada played in
the lack of respect is certainly not something new to the sports fan culture. And
now, see, Jeff, in Philadelphia, they would have none of these problems.
Well, that is true. No, obviously,
absolutely none of these problems.
That's what they should have done, is just have all of.
I'll tell you right now, they better grease the poles in Broad Street tonight, because if USA wins, they're climbing them. They're going up on those sign posts, baby. Broad Street, Cotman Ave. It's going to be a absolutely bombastic party tonight.
Something to look forward to this evening. All right, we'll take a break here. We're back with much more. It is our Thursday edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here at Quaker Steak and Lube.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
Get up and get going with the Happy Valleys 98.7 The Fox, the Goon and Ironhead.
Probably. All right, we are back here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox. It's the Goon and Ironhead show here at Quaker Steak and Lube. Great place to come on down and watch that hockey game, by the way, tonight. You can enjoy some great food, great beverage, outstanding service here at Quaker Steak and Lube. And, yeah, they have TVs on all over the place. I think both the Pirates and Phillies get underway the spring training games on Saturday.
Correct.
Pirates play the Orioles. I'm forgetting the Phillies, I know, are in action, and maybe Tigers, something. Anyways, so
we're watching.
We're getting there.
Cubs Dodgers up on TV right now. Our first live spring game of the year. So what's that? 10 days since the Super Bowl. We got baseball players are back on, man.
Yep.
God bless.
And, you know, this is the time of the year where you can dream big. And if you're a Pirates fan, you can dream about the possibility of being a 500
There
team.
you go, buddy.
And then, you know, reality will set in somewhere along the way during the season. But right now, it's great because before the season begins, we're all even, and everybody can dream about being, you know, possibly a 500
like draft night in the NFL. Everybody wins on draft night in the NFL.
What's that? Oh, a lot of other teams are dreaming about World Series.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
Yep.
Ha! I'll be a son of a gun.
What do you think, Buccos or Steelers? Who's closer to winning a title?
Well, you know, I'm telling you, if the Steelers can get, which is a huge if, I understand. Hey, here's the thing. Like, the Steelers could go out and get their quarterback. Like, that is a possibility. There is no chance that the Pirates are going to go out and make a move that will get them over the hump. Yeah, they have Skeens. I mean, and fantastic. I'm looking forward to watching him. We're actually, my wife has, we'll be going down to a couple of Pirates games to support her organization and events there. Just fingers crossed that one of those nights is a Paul Skeens pitching night, because I have not yet had the chance to see him in person and would like that opportunity. But
he is fun to watch, man.
Yeah, but there's no... The Steelers are potentially closer. Like, they still have a legit defense. I know they're getting a little long in the tooth in some spots there. If you got magic in a bottle with the quarterback spot next year, right? You get the next Jaden Daniels. And listen, I'm telling you, this is one of the fun things in sports. I have folks that are telling me I'm nuts for thinking that Jackson Dart, that Jackson Dart thing has me fired up. I really think, regardless of whether he goes to the Steelers or not, I think Dart is a guy that has a chance to really have a pretty special career in the NFL. Now, I could be wrong. I'm wrong all of the time. And
so are guys who get paid a lot of money to do that.
That's so exactly what I was going to say. So, by the way, are a lot of NFL front offices. Look at the number one picks. To me, Jackson Dart has is the dual threat that you're looking for now.
Josh Allen type of player, you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that he's quite
big.
The powerful runner that Allen is, but then again, maybe I'm basing this too much because it's not like I sat down and watched a ton of Jackson Dart tape. I obviously watched him very closely in the Penn State bowl game a couple of years ago, and I did see the better part of a couple of Ole Miss games this past season. And the two things that stand out to me are, yes, his ability to run and to make things happen, but his accuracy, Goon. Now, again, I don't know if it's just, man, I saw him at the right times, because that happens sometimes. Like, I'll be watching some of these spring training games or something. It's like, man, every time I see that guy, he hits a home run. And then you look up, he's like, he's had 3 home runs this spring. I'm like, I just saw all 3 of them. Man, it seemed so. I'm just telling you, if you are accurate in the NFL and you have, and he has some moxie about him. I mean, I think he's got a little of that Joe Burrow feel just in terms of the confidence and, hey, I believe I'm going to find a way to do this. If you are accurate, that goes a long way toward giving you a chance for NFL success. And then obviously it's, you got to have the awareness, the presence on when you're out there. I just think I would be thrilled. I'll just leave it at that. I would be thrilled if the Steelers drafted him, and I would.
I know
feel
you said you didn't do
very
any
good about
research on him. Did he transfer from anywhere, or was he always at Ole Miss?
That I don't know.
Okay. Because I was very impressed by him in that bowl game 2 years ago, and then this past year, he has that like swagger, that aura, that cockiness, that Joe Burrow. That's a great comparison, by the way.
Yeah, the other names that this Dan Jones talk. Can we please stop with the Dan Jones and the Aaron Rodgers? And if there's anybody in that front office that is actually thinking of either of those two options as being even the short-term answer, stop it. Please, for the love of God, stop it. Again, Jackson Dart would get me very excited.
Yeah.
I am beyond curmudgeonly if they,
by the way, great call on
either Dan Jones or Aaron Rodgers. Nobody needs that circus right now. That would set the Steelers organization back.
Hey,
it's nothing against Rodgers. It's just what do you need that for?
What was so wrong with Pickett? Do you think they gave him enough opportunity?
I think they probably saw enough. So I think I said before the trade, I'm like, I still don't know. Like, I could go either way in him. I'm not sold that that's your long-term answer.
I know he wasn't dropping dimes and throwing.
Yeah, but I also wasn't absolutely convinced that he couldn't be.
Yeah.
What I do think is that they saw enough. Again, we saw him on Sundays. They're obviously watching him day in and day out. This is just me surmising, but I think they saw enough. But no, this is not the long-term answer.
With that offensive line and the lack of a run game.
Well, that's the other thing with Jackson Dart. So I think if
not bashing on you guys, by the way, I'm just saying.
No, but I think Jackson Dart helps.
That's a hell of a pick, man.
Alleviate some of the issues with that offensive line. Now, you still need, they got to keep working to upgrade the O-line for sure. But having a guy like Dart that is a little more elusive, I think, helps in that front. And again, I think he's a more accurate thrower than Justin Fields, and I think that's for me why I'm optimistic about that potential.
Fields gone?
Pickup. Well, not yet.
Okay.
We're still every day. It's it sounds like the Jets are making a real play for him.
So he still has eligibility, contract money that he would be under contract with the Steelers for a couple more years, or is that running out?
No, both he and Wilson are free agents.
Okay, so they're not.
The Steelers have said it's a priority to sign one of them, and then the speculation has grown exceedingly high on both fronts there. So still don't know how all of that is going to play out. And then it seems like every day we're getting other names thrown in there. Trevor Lawrence was thrown in there.
The one I saw was
Aaron
Stafford.
Rodgers. Stafford was mentioned. And now Dan Jones. Good God.
That's your guy, Jeff. Come on, don't kid yourself, buddy.
With that stuff. And listen, I mean, like a Stafford or as a stopgap measure for a year or two, man, if you can get somebody that has that type of veteran savviness that isn't going to be a complete disruption the way in Aaron Rodgers. Again, getting somebody with Rodgers' talent in there, it would not be a bad thing. It's just everything that comes with it when you're trying. To me, the disruption there is just not worth it. And kind of same thing. Again, I'm not saying Daniel Jones is the worst quarterback. I just that he's not your long-term answer. I can't believe anybody in that building is looking at him and saying, "Yep, that's our guy for the next decade. He's going to lead us to special places." I think that's, again, if you can get somebody that can manage that offense for another year or two, and whether it's a Russell Wilson or a Justin Fields, okay, if that's what you think. I don't know. I've gone back and forth on it. I mean, is there a chance that Fields could be your long-term answer? I would say yes. I don't think it's a great chance. I don't feel really optimistic about it. But obviously, Russell Wilson is not your long-term answer. I guess, to me, it comes down to, and I just have no way of knowing what their front office is thinking or seeing. Like, if they really think Jack, and again, I have no idea on this. This was just put out there by somebody, I think, that follows the Steelers. I don't even remember who last week that, hey, Jackson Dart would be a good fit. I'm like, oh, that would be a good fit. I'd love to see that. So I have no idea whether there's even any interest on the Steelers' part in Jackson Dart. I just know there's interest in me seeing the Steelers get Jackson Dart. But to me, what it comes down to is, and again, these guys are seeing Justin Fields day in and day out. I find it hard to believe that they're seeing a guy that they think is their long-term future, and you sit them down to put Russell Wilson out there. And even when the offense, I'm not blaming it on Wilson, certainly not Wilson alone. But when you see the offense struggling down the stretch the way it was, and you still don't bring Fields in, so to me, that's telling you they know Justin Fields isn't your long-term solution there. Maybe I'm misreading that, but that seems fairly obvious to me. So if you don't think that's the case, and you think Wilson right now is the better quarterback, I'm okay with re-signing Wilson for another year or two with the idea that, all right, we got to go get our guy now for the future, and this gives us, a year or two to develop him. Now, if he comes in and wows us, man, we go ahead and we have a great veteran here to keep helping him out and as our backup. But we're not under any pressure. He doesn't have to come in and be Jaden Daniels. He can come in and learn for that year, develop. Yep. Hopefully we see what we're hoping we see out of him. And then that next year, all right, now we're ready to build for the future. If that's the path that they're looking at, to me, yeah, Wilson makes more sense there. Now, if they're just, man, we just want to have a good competition. We think Fields is pretty good. Again, could be the long-term answer. All right, well, then keep him and then get somebody in there that you think is going to be able to battle him, just not Daniel Jones or Aaron Rodgers.
So you would be okay with Russell Wilson and Jackson Dart as his backup, as a first round? I would be okay with that too.
I would be.
The other scenario?
Personally.
No.
What, Rodgers?
No. Your current backup.
Fields?
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
go BC Field. Now,
yes.
Now you got to remember that the NBA and the NFL is a whole different world when it comes to my job is not to train my backup. Where I sort of see Russell Wilson taking that as sort of like he'd be cool with that.
I think at this stage,
in a weird way.
I think that
Fields,
probably I think that probably is true. I mean, he knows he's on the back end here, whether or not he thinks he has 1 or 3 years left. I mean, I think he clearly knows we're heading toward there, and I would think would be okay, if the Steelers came to him and said, "Listen, you're our guy for the next year. Then we want to see how things develop, but can you help the organization out?" And listen, maybe it's even the talk. Hey, we'll figure out something in the front office if and when that time comes, or if you're wanting to get, I can't really envision Wilson as a coach, but I don't know. I don't know what his aspirations are once he finishes up his playing career. But I mean, maybe you have some discussions along those lines about, hey, can we, help you project into whatever your future career is going to be as well. Probably worth at
is
least
Dart
a
a
conversation.
possible drop the second round? That's ideal in the quarterback world nowadays.
I would think it's possible. I really haven't sat down. I don't get as geeked up or amped up on the draft as some folks. I really don't know. I would think there's not much of a chance just because there's so many teams that are wanting their next franchise quarterback and are going to be really willing to roll the dice.
And they feel the pressure
I
to
think
pick
Dart
one.
is generally projected right as like the 3rd to 5th best quarterback in this class. I don't think anybody has him in the top 2, even though I think I don't know. I'm jazzed about that that possibility, as I have said repeatedly. It just ever since I've heard it, I'm excited about the possibility there, because I really do think he's just such a different dynamic player than what the Steelers have had there. I mean, even Ben was obviously phenomenal. But Roethlisberger was that big, kind of the gunslinging guy that came in there. Jackson Dart, I think, just gives that element that the Steelers really haven't had. I mean, I know Vic gave it kind of when he was there, and Fields, I guess you could say to some degree, gave it to you at the start of last season. But Dart, to me, has a chance to be one of those. And again, I understand it's not guaranteed, and you're rolling the dice anytime with any of these quarterbacks, certainly in the first round. I just even if it doesn't work out, I would be one to applaud the Steelers for to me, that feels like a good pick in the moment, even if it turns out to be wrong. I think it is at least a move that, man, we're trying to go get. We know the situation we're in. We're trying to go get that next guy. We thought that was the guy, and
was Kenny one?
If you miss on it, so be it. I don't know.
No, was Kenny a first round pick?
Yeah, I don't know how many folks really thought it was just not a great quarterback class that year.
Stretch.
And I think it was a stretch, and
they wanted.
I'm still
Big
to this
Ben's
day
replacement.
I'm lukewarm. I had friends that were really pumped about it. I had friends that were really not happy about it, and even now I still think with Getty Pay, I'm like, I'm not sure I see him as an NFL starter.
Jeff,
I really don't think
Super
I see
Bowl
him
champion
as a top
quarterback, Kenny Pickett.
12 type of quarterback, but could he be a pretty serviceable starter long term. Maybe. I think it again feels more like he's kind of starting to slot himself in as, which by the way, not a bad place to be in life, but it feels like he's starting to kind of settle in as one of the better backups long term in the NFL. And again, he can carve out a nice 10 to 15 year career for himself and make a very good chunk of change and win some games, get some more rings, all of it. So again, it's certainly not a bad place to be, but in terms of a franchise quarterback and one of those guys that can be the guy that can go lead teams to championships, it feels like that's probably a stretch now, but still pretty early in. So we'll see. Different guys, again, it clicks at different times.
Yeah, we wanted to be here for the draft, by the way. That's Austin's tournament that same weekend.
Oh, yeah.
We want to get to see your future Steelers leader being picked in the first round.
I'd be okay with that.
I mean, yeah, it is a very nice decision there. And you are right about the Jaden Daniels thing. I mean, I remember watching him earlier in this year, about halfway through the year. And I don't know what game I was watching, but I said, dude, this guy is going to be a problem for the Eagles for the next 15 years. He is that damn good.
Yeah, he is. He is definitely something special. Now, whether Jackson Dart is that or not, again, we'll see. But boy, I think he has a chance to be that type of a player. Maybe not right out of the gate the way Daniels was, but that is the type of quarterback that I think he could project to be.
Now, running back wise,
in the NFL,
they didn't sign what's his name to the.
No, Najee Harris. I think they're.
What do you feel about him?
I mean, I think he's a good back. I don't think he's what they thought he was going to be.
Yes.
I think he's a very good back. I think he's a great locker room guy from at least what we hear. But with very few exceptions, Saquon Barkley certainly one of them. Derrick Henry another. But I do subscribe to the idea that most of these running backs are pretty interchangeable if you have a good offensive line. I don't think Harris, again, I think he's a good, solid running back. I think if you put him behind the Eagles' offensive line, he'd put up some very impressive statistics. I think if you, put him behind Chicago Bears' offensive line, he's going to.
There's a reason Saquon had such a good frigging year this year because he hasn't had the best offensive line in the league.
Lord,
geez.
And again, I mean, he's a difference maker for sure. But yeah, it's getting that combination. So yeah, I mean, I think if Harris goes to the right place, he can put up impressive statistics. Yes, but again, I don't think he's one of the top 3 or 4 backs in the league. I think he's very good. I think he's good. I'll even take my very off of that.
For those of you watching on Facebook, I'm watching the Cubs pitcher just take one off the dome off of a bat. And it's like my biggest fear is watching baseball is that.
I'm with you.
Yeah, so Harris, he's gone, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're not
for all. Yes.
Yeah, because they didn't option his 5th year or whatever. So you got to replace the running game, a quarterback, work on that offensive line. You got a depleted defense right now. I mean, is it one of those times where they got to stop just like trying to? I guess one of the articles I read or somebody was talking about on radio one time was, is it time for the Steelers to just pack it in and completely burn it down and build it up from the start?
Yeah, no, I don't think that. I'm not a big proponent of that because I don't think there's any guarantee that you're going to build it back up into anything special. I think
I guess what the guy was getting at was getting rid of Tomlin and building it from the start.
Yeah,
tossing.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's always hard for me because first of all, I like Tomlin a lot more than most Steelers fans. I think he's a much better coach than he's given credit for. But really, I mean, it comes down to then who is the next guy, and without knowing that, like, yes, are there guys out there that, you know, man, you tell me that the Steelers just hired him, and I'm like, man, that's a good up and coming. Yes, sign me up. I'm excited about it. Yeah, and the Steelers have done a very good job in hiring new coaches. Their last three have worked out very nicely. So do I like that their chances of that? Yes, but there's just not a guarantee. And listen, I get it. There's not a guarantee that Tomlin's going to get this thing figured out and get them back to the, you know, Super Bowl contenders either.
I just don't think. I mean, I
am surprised they didn't make any coaching changes.
Yeah, I'm not knocking the program, but it's like, look at the sidelines of most teams, and it's just packed full of people. And then the Steelers is bare minimum. I just don't think that they put a lot of money into the whole coaching staff and program with analysts and assistant coaches type of thing, where most teams have 30, 40 guys on the sideline sometimes, and the Steelers, who are not known to spend money. That's notorious about them. You know, so they have, is the game sort of passing them by with a lot of other teams having analysts and then scouting coordinators and this and that, and how, I mean, the Bengals scouting department is hard. They don't even have a scouting department. I've always found that amazing. You know, and then there are people complaining about their scouts and their draft decisions, and you're just like, can we not put two and two together here? Yeah, but I mean, again, there's a lot the Steelers got to do, and it'll be interesting to see where they go with it. You know, they historically have never done the free agent thing. You know, will they go out and get a big time free agent? Is there one out there that could be a game changer for them? I mean, do you think Matt Stafford going there for 1 or 2 years? I don't. I just think that the offensive line, he needs protection.
I
know he has a powerful arm.
He might not look at that as a real good fit. Yeah, I think that's probably a fair.
I'll tell you what, man, I'm going home tonight, Ed. I'm not tonight. I'm watching the hockey game tonight, but I will be looking into this Jackson Dart thing for you. That's an interesting idea. I mean, it's a very, very. It just seems that that's what they look for.
Yeah,
they're very good with their head coaches, wide receiver picks, and their quarterbacks. And if they don't have those working, it doesn't work.
That's going to wrap things up for our show
USA,
today.
baby.
Folks, have yourself a great weekend. Yes, let's go USA tonight. And we will be back on Tuesday with another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox. Until then, be good and be safe.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Two of the top names in local printing have combined to serve you better. King Printing of State College has merged with theprinters.com, forming one of the 400 largest printers in America. Combining traditional offset printing and digital workflow techniques, theprinters.com can print, assemble, package, and ship to anywhere in the world, all with the same high quality customers have known and trusted for over 50 years. Buy local and save. Get started today at theprinters.com.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
WFXX, once again.
The Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, The Fox, Steve.